que Ale. ¿Ya? ¿El auto ahí? ¿No? Toca el teclado. Sí, auto. Sí, nada más auto.
Welcome in, everyone, to the right side of campus. It's Football Friday here at SBRpicks.com. Friday, November 3rd, 2017. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus. We're embarking on yet another week of football. We got college basketball starting next week. World Series is past. It's time to get into the stretch run, into football, into basketball. Let me bring in my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, we're embarking on Week 10 college football, Week 9 NFL. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. I wish I can, honest to God, fast forward to Sunday. I'm excited about that NFL football card. Got a couple plays already sent out, but it's Football Friday, one of the best times. I mean, you already have all your plays circled. All we're doing now is hammering down which plays are the better plays to give out and bet your money on. I'm looking forward to it. I love Fridays, man.
Yeah, lot to do, lot to go over. We'll recap what went on last night. Some interesting games. Last night we made a little money on the show. If you followed our plays, let me just do one thing here. Overall, though, an interesting night of a pigskin. We'll start out in the NFL, and look, just a bad performance last night from the Buffalo Bills. I mean, what more do you say about it? I mean, you give up 7 sacks, your offensive line. You only give up, you only allow 60 or 63 yards on the ground for the Bills. Just not good enough. I mean, they were just running around all night, couldn't stop the Jets. And Donnie, the big question with Buffalo is, can they consistently score points? And B, is their pass defense good enough? Because we talked all week that I thought it was good enough. I mean, they've struggled to get stops, and it showed last night. Then he got, and look, we all are aware that no one likes the Thursday night games. We all get that, but for Richie Incognito to blame their loss on that, I'm a little bush league if you ask me. We all know, Richie, they suck. We all know they're a wrench in your schedule, but everyone has to do it. Certain teams win, certain teams don't. To blame his poor performance on the Thursday night games is a little bush league if you ask me.
Yeah, no, it is a little bit bush league. I mean, but he does have a certain point. You are really behind the 8 ball when you go on the road on Thursday night
Donnie, we
football.
all
But
know
there's
that.
no
I mean,
there's no slouch for that performance. Yeah, there's nothing.
right,
I mean, that's what they get paid for. That's why their contract is big, because a network's going to pay a couple $100 million for you to play on Thursday night. We all know the Thursday night product is trash. It puts everybody in harm's way. It's a severe disadvantage for the road team. But it's just the way it is. You live with it. If you accept your paycheck, then you accept your conditions.
and it's just overall point valid. Sure, it is. I mean, yeah, we know the NFL, they care about the money. I mean, that's clear. But overall they just they didn't play well, and I don't think it's the end of the world for the Bills. They're still a good football team. They could still score. They just didn't really do anything good last night. And look, it's a cauldron heading into to the Jets anymore. I'm playing at MetLife. It's almost a thing that not a lot of teams can do. It's been a struggle for teams going in there to play, and the Jets have been good at home. You have to be impressed with what they've done. Ian and I talked last night, Donnie, about this line. I mean, you have 70%, or more on the Bills. Line doesn't move lose a move an inch. I mean, that should have put the sensors in your head up. I mean, this just looked like a stone cold Jet line.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, if you look at the Jets' MO at home, Jeff, playing all year long, they play really, really well at home. And again, I preface it by saying I like the Bills in certain situations. I like the Bills at home where they're laying like 2.5 or 3. It's a comfortable environment. But when you go out on the road and you're going to play interconference, you're going to travel. It's Tyrod Taylor's what you get, man. You can't be upset when you see like Tyrod Taylor is going to be able to extend drives and keep it going. Is he a good quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, because there's a lot of trash can quarterbacks out there. But he is what he is, and he's not going to win you football games. If it's 3rd and 7, he might pick up a couple first downs with his feet. He's not going to throw you to a victory. But what you saw last night is really the Bills. The Bills will play well, and they'll play well at home. When they go on the road, they're limited on offense. If you shut down Shady McCoy, Tyrod Taylor can't beat you.
Right. And I thought he was, maybe turning a bit of a corner. I still think he's, your best option. I mean, he's better than most.
Yeah, no, he's clearly. I preface that by saying there's a lot of bad quarterbacks, and Tyrod Taylor is not a bad quarterback, but you're just not going to win anything with Tyrod Taylor. But
and not
in
for
the
nothing,
NFL, it is.
Yeah, not for nothing. Last night, I don't think it was anything he didn't do. I mean, their offensive line was awful. And I mean, if you're getting him sacked, I mean, you're really not playing well because he's got that mobility. I mean, he throws for 285 yards. A lot of that was in garbage time, which is important to mention. I mean, they were down, 31-7 in this game. So, it really was a lot of garbage time. But, overall, I mean, you got to run for more than 63 yards on 22 carries. I mean, that's under 3 yards a carry, just not good enough. Jordan Matthews, from what I remember, made a mistake or two. Just was a bad performance overall by the Buffalo Bills, and they were kicked in the mouth last night, giving up 34 points, something you just can't do if you're a high-level defense. But Buffalo get back to the drawing board. They had to deal with their Thursday night game. But, Donnie, as we wrap up this game, I mean, they're 1-3 on the road, Buffalo. I mean, if you want to win in the playoffs, they're most likely going to have to win on the road. They're not going to win this division. They're not going to get home field advantage. If they're going to make the playoffs or do something, they're going to have to find a way to win on the road because they're not doing that right now.
Yeah, it'll be a process as it goes down the line. First year with the GM, first year with the head coach, and I mean, a lot of people, including me, I think the Bills are doing a lot better than what and somebody most would have anticipated on the season. It'll take some time in there. They'll settle on a quarterback in a couple years and really get the regime going. But I do root for the Buffalo Bills because I do think they have an overall good football team, but they're somewhat limited there in capabilities of offense. Kelvin Benjamin didn't play last night. Now he gets the mini bye, so to speak, Jeff, where he's going to be able to rest that knee up, get into the playbook. That's going to help him out when he comes back, to give him a little bit more of a downfield threat, a red zone target, which they do desperately need. But the Bills are what they are. They'll hang right on to the end, last couple of weeks looking for that final playoff seed.
You must start blocking better. Donnie, we'll get a little housekeeping out of the way. Do us a favor, hit the like button. Please let us know you're out there. Say hello in the chat. I see new names in here seemingly all the time. We welcome you. We also welcome the countless other people that continuously listen every day to the show, to the massive all the shows here at SBR. Do want to talk for a moment about kind of the unsung heroes at SBR. The people that are that have been here for a long, long time, writing articles. Guys like Jordan Sharp and Charles Stark, Willie B, Swingin' Johnson, those guys that have been here for, I mean, back when I started here. Before that, I mean, I've been here pretty long. They've been here probably longer than me. A lot of those guys, great NBA minds like Jordan Sharp. Give them a little love over on the SBR Picks website. I mean, Jordan does a great job with NBA, and these guys do a great job of college and all sorts of different things. Give them a little love over there because they're really were the backbone and still are of where this website started. I mean, back in the day, I remember. And it still is a great website for written research. I mean, head over there, take a look at the SBR betting guide, take a look at everything going on. Check out SBR Odds, the best line service in the business. I mean, you can get multiple books. You can put them in and out on ones you like and don't like. Really a nice feature to have. You're really a one-stop shop, Donnie, over at SBRpicks.com. There's already, college basketball chat up over there. There's already, all these different breakdowns, which, Donnie, I wanted to just discuss quickly here because I think you're going to be seeing them pretty soon. I want to shout out to Donnie Rightside, a good friend of mine, which many of you know. Donnie and I started working yesterday on the college basketball previews, Donnie. It was something we're working on each day here, and I got to tell you, I appreciate you helping me out with that. They're going to be pretty fun when we get them out.
No, yeah. I mean, it's right around the corner. As you know, I'm not that engaged, with college basketball. I do like to watch. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes, but it's starting and it's right up here. It's kind of funny doing all these conference things with Big Man because I haven't even checked, one statistics. I couldn't tell you more than 3 players right now in college basketball, but that does change rather quickly once everything gets started up because my mind is straight focused on football. But it's nice to take a little bit of break and hear like the teams that you bet on last year and who's coming back and who's not coming back. So look out for those. Be a good time there if you take a listen to them.
Yeah, Ian Cameron and I were chatting a little bit last night about that, and I mean, I got my kidding with you, Donnie. I could have stayed on until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning doing that. I mean, I was in my heaven there. But quickly in college football last night, had some interesting goings on last night. We'll start out with Toledo. They get the job done and cover the number, which is something we recommended yesterday here on the show. It wasn't easy for Toledo. They didn't play well. Logan Woodside in the first half was not good. I got to tell you, I'm surprised that they only gave up 17 points. I didn't watch much of the second half of this game. I was just flipping back between other things. But, you know, Toledo's an interesting defense, Donnie. They really bend and a lot of the time don't break, but they give up a lot of yards to Toledo. But I got to tell you, impressive, second half last night. Yeah, this game kind of started out. I mean, quick touchdowns. Yeah, the Logan Woodside fumble inside the 1 yard line was pretty brutal. But Toledo fought. They got a big game on deck against Ohio. They're in the driver's seat here in the MAC, Donnie.
Yeah, David, what a gem, Logan Woodside is. It's amazing that the kid is in the MAC because he is a really good football player. Toledo dominated that game from, opening, kickoff, right to finish. Score might have not indicated that, but Toledo did pretty much what they wanted all night long. And the same MO came back. NIU is a really good football team, so I didn't expect a blowout there. But I know everybody was line opened up at 9, 8, 7, whatever it was. I was able to get 7 minus 113 in the football game. And most people, see, everybody's out there and, betting on NIU. When it all boils down to it, Toledo's offense is so damn good. And it just gets back to the prospect, Jeff, where you're just expecting them to put together a drive of 5, 6 straight first downs. They're that good. And when you went back to NIU, what was the Achilles heel? The young kid is a really good – Childers is a really good quarterback option. But when you're going to ask him to play in a big-time environment like that and move the ball passing, he's not going to be able to do it. So, going forward, to me, Toledo's still the best overall team in the conference. I think they'll be able to beat Ohio next week just because Logan Woodside is so damn good, and the defense is not great for Toledo, but they're going to get their stops mixed in there. But you just can't get Woodside off the field. He's that good in the MAC. And if you bet in Northern Illinois and you finally got to watch that game and see Woodside, don't bet against Toledo again. It's not that smart.
I'm going to be really keying in that game next week. Really excited for that one. That Ohio-Toledo game going to be really, really fun. Another one in the MAC, Donnie, great call by you. Eastern Michigan disgracefully pounds Ball State. And look, Ball State did what they thought they'd do. I thought they'd score 14, but I got to tell you, I think, someone asked a question last night, who's worse, Ball State or Kent State? And you said Ball State, and I agree with you.
It's not even
totally.
Close.
I mean, defensively, at least Kent can give you something. I mean, they're an okay defensive team. I mean, Ball State, you really have to look at this point with their level of player in the game. You got to look at the fact they may be the worst team in the country right now.
It's funny because, I always get a laugh. Like, you get, like, some mysterious names come in, Jeff. I'm doing the show with Teddy last night, and the game started at 6 o'clock, both of them. So I'm watching Toledo scores on their first drive. EMU scores on their first drive, and then Ball State actually comes back and scores like 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. And I'm getting these messages back and forth, and I said, nice call on Ball State. You said they were terrible, 7-7. And what's my response, Jeff? Jeff, give me my response, please.
Dude, it's the first quarter.
It's a long game. They went backwards the rest of the football game. And Eastern Michigan, Jeff, that we joke about, like, you look at their games because it was really a step down in class was the whole thing. Eastern Michigan usually scores 20 points, 25 points. And I kept saying, it's like they haven't faced Ball State yet.
Right. And didn't they learn watching that Ball State Toledo game that, it's Ball State, bro. What do you expect, But yeah, they scored 7. They have one running back who's okay. They have a wide receiver too that can make a play. You have a 4th-string like freshman quarterback back there. Like, what do you expect when you're going on the road against one of the better defenses in the conference? That's exactly what you expected. The one thing that Eastern Michigan doesn't do that well is run the football, but they have a capable quarterback and 3 really good wide receivers, and they hung 56 on Eastern Michigan. Jeff hung 56 on Ball State. That's hilarious, man. It is. Shout out to the guys on the chat, saying hello, Mr. Satan, Andrew, Mark, Mr. Gogser, Taylor, Sean, Sam, Javonte, Big E, Varnum, Cynthia's in here. Welcome in. Always nice to see her on here. Appreciate that. Tonio Sr. Get out of here with that mess. Talking about the Cowboys. Nobody's worried about the Cowboys. We'll get to them in a little bit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did go on a little rant last night, Aaron. Well, we
Did
had
you?
some fun. We were talking.
Huh.
Yeah, well, we didn't go on a rant. I mean, Ian and I were both kind of ranty in general. We were talking about the tout business and some of the charlatans in this business overall, but we won't get into that. But overall, yeah, I mean, and I actually want to rant on the next team here. And look, there's no secret. I enjoy Navy football. Always have, always will. They've made me a lot of money in my betting career, but this year they've cost me a lot, Donnie. I mean, I can't. I'm not sure I can remember a week this week or this year where they've cashed for me. I've bet them 4 or 5 different times, and they've been a real thorn in my side. All the service caddies really have. Army's been a money burner for me as well. I got to tell you though, as a fan of the Temple sports programs, I'm more of a basketball fan, but I think the question was for this team, where do you go next? I mean, you bring in Jeff Collins, he's obviously got to build his future there, but Temple's not. I mean, it's one of the tougher jobs to recruit in the country. I mean, I think if it's my opinion, you know, in major on the East Coast, I mean, maybe Buffalo is tougher. I mean, but other than that, I mean, Temple University football does not have a home stadium. They are basically in the middle of North Philadelphia. They don't have it's not a pretty campus. It's not, it's a gritty place to go to school, and you're really selling like a culture or the overall school in general. But I got to tell you, this quarterback situation they have is pretty impressive. I mean, Frank Nutile last night was great, and I know it was Navy, and Navy's defense is horrid, but this Nutile, I mean, last 2 weeks I mean, really looked impressive. I don't know how long it'll last, but I hope for the sake of the program it lasts because they've really kind of had kind of a weird way at quarterback. I mean, Philip Walker, I wasn't ever a big fan of. Logan Marchie, just I don't think he had it. I haven't been impressed by Nutile, Donnie, last couple weeks.
He looks good. And again, they got that bump, man. They played Army right down to the bell. Should have beat Army. They actually should have beat both service academies, but they really destroyed Navy. Navy looks like a shell of their former self. Would they open up 5-0, now losing 3 straight? They just look poor out there. It's one of those things, I guess, now where you're running into those teams with a physical front seven and big wide receivers, and they're just getting taken apart.
Yeah, it's actually Donnie, shameful, really. I mean, they're doing a lot of things that you don't normally see from this group. I mean, just penalties, stupid decisions. You bring in, calling a fair catch on a kickoff. I mean, just mental mistakes that to me you can't make. As far as that's an interesting question there. Who is that? Sam Wheel. If you're talking about football, greatest football player, I don't know. Bernard Pierce is pretty great. I mean, a couple years ago, he was a great running back. Junior Gillette was pretty good, defensive end. Um, I don't know, Don, if you can think back that far, but
yeah, the Palmer kid
level,
back in the mid '80s when they were really good. I think he was always up there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
That's back when Bruce Arians coached the Temple Owls. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I mean, Matakevich was a great player. Tyler Matakevich. I mean, what a linebacker he was. Him and Hassan Reddick were fantastic. Rod Streeter was pretty good back in the day. Plays for Oakland, or did play for the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, I mean, but if you're looking at football, I mean, they haven't always had the greatest teams, but I got to tell you, I was a big Matakevich guy. I did like Bernard Pierce a lot as well.
Yeah, because we had a lot of lean years there. But if you remember, I mean, that's probably a little bit earlier for you, Jeff. Back in the mid '80s, like Paul Palmer finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting for Temple. How about that?
Yeah,
he lost.
Wow, I do
lost
not
to
know.
Vinny Testaverde. Yeah.
How about that? Vinny
yeah, Paul Palmer's pretty good. That was like and then Jeff, we went on like a run from like '88 through until Al Golden of pretty trash football in Philadelphia for the Temple Owls.
No, some of the years, I mean, they didn't win a game. I remember, like back in the.
Yeah, I remember going down. I remember going down to watch him at the Vet, where not Rocket Ishmael, his brother, the Missile, Quadre Ishmael, and going down seeing like those Marvin Harrison Syracuse teams. And Jeff, there couldn't have been more than 50 people at the Vet on Saturdays when they would routinely get beat 48-0.
Sure. No, I wouldn't doubt it. As far as, I mean, I don't know if you're asking Temple basketball, but I mean, Mark Macon was pretty good. I mean, Pepe Sanchez was a great
Was it
player.
Guy
I mean,
Rogers back in the day? Yeah, I mean, Temple's had some great
sure.
players.
I mean, I'm actually, I'm looking at, in my lifetime, but yeah, I mean, Guy
Yeah.
Rogers is going to be overall the best, but in our, kind of like the last 20 years, 25 years, I mean, there's,
Yeah,
I've had a lot of
I said that. What the Eddie Jones? You had Aaron McKee, Rick Brunson. Those teams were
a friend
phenomenal,
of
man.
mine,
Great college.
A friend of mine, Dustin Salisbury's from my area here now. He was a great player for John Chaney about, I don't know, 10 years ago. Just recently, I mean, you had some pretty good players. Ramon Moore, great player out of Southern. They've always had some great coaches as well. I mean, John Chaney and Dump for so many years. I can't wait for Temple basketball, Donnie. I'm so pumped up about this team this year. I mean,
You.
we had a tough year last year, but I got to tell you, I'm pumped up for Sharon White this year. Yeah, the Temple Owls were in the MAC. Good call,
I
Joe.
wish they stayed in
They
the. Damn it.
yeah. Well, now I'm
They were
kind of
and
like
back
it
then, Jeff.
because
They got forced. You don't remember the story, Jeff? The Big East forced them out because they couldn't draw anybody at home, and there was no competitive advantage. Like Temple would just get bounced by 50
yeah,
every single week. They get thrown out. They were conferenceless, I think, maybe for a year. Found themselves in the MAC, and they couldn't even compete, Jeff, in the MAC back then.
right.
It was bad for a
Um,
while, man.
I'll tell you what, the Navy game last night, Navy did score some points late in that game and put the total up and over. And that's kind of a bad beat there. Um, Temple was really kind of cruising the whole way through. Navy's quarterback went out yet again. Bad beat if you had the over. I saw the final score. I didn't end up seeing the last touchdown or whatever it was, but that's a kind of a tough beat if you had the under in that game. A lot of under money as well
End
in
up
this one.
60 though.
So
I think it closed at like 51 though. It was a bad
it
beat at the end.
I believe I think there was a late touchdown at the game because we were watching kind of it off, on the show the whole time, and it was, it was in like the 40s and low 50s for most of the game, and then some late points came from Navy, and I think it put it up and over, but a lot of under money in this game, so
Yeah.
that all kept with the book. Troy, shout out to Ian Cameron, he had Idaho last night, good call from him. Idaho comes in easily. This one was never really in doubt. Total came under, which was a play that I was interested in. Kind of low scoring. Idaho's a weird team, aren't they? I mean, sometimes they look real good, and sometimes they can't stop anyone.
Yeah, hit or
Um,
miss as they head to FCS next year as opposed to FBS. So
sure,
playing at the
sure,
string for them.
um, sure. Let's get into the NFL, Donnie. Let's go down the card here. Chat a little bit about this. The great game of NFL we have here coming up.
Yeah.
We'll start out up at the top. We'll go rotation number 451, 452, and I'm actually quite interested in this one, as we Eagle fans are. But I have an interesting point to make here. You have the Denver Broncos heading into the Philadelphia Eagles. Donnie, Eagles laying. You can get 7 at bookmaker. You got to lay 112, but you can get a 7. There's also an 8 out there at Bet Online. So if you like Denver Broncos, you can get 8. You got to lay a little juice.
It's a
But
fake line though.
prevailing number,
Yeah.
yeah, prevailing numbers, 7, 7.5. If you're okay with paying a little extra, you can get the 8. Donnie, I have to tell you, I'm actually a little concerned about this game. I don't like this spot for the Eagles. I'm concerned. There's just some things going on, kind of low level. They're not really things you're hearing about, but they concern me. A, Zach Ertz, he's hurt all of a sudden with a hamstring problem. That's concerning. The overall, I think, fervor that the Denver Broncos are going to come in here with, you know, kind of, I've been reading some quotes from them. I mean, seems like they're pretty pissed off defensively. I think Vitae is going to get abused in this game. I think, and I think that's going to hurt Carson. I think overall, I don't think Osweiler is going to do a ton, but I think he'll give them a little bit of energy if they can. They're coming in to play a good football team here. I don't know if they'll win. I don't think they're going to win, but something just tells me. I mean, at some point the Eagles are going to, not play well. They didn't play well last week, which is concerning. But I don't think this is like a letdown spot or anything. They've had those, and they've been able to take care of business. On a Thursday night against Carolina, or last week against the 49ers. Something just tells me this game is close. Something tells me that I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and that's kind of the concern here. I love Wentz. And if he plays well in this game, I think you got to give him the MVP, Donnie. I mean, because he's been so good all year. If he could play well here, it's going to be impressive. But for me, I have a weird feeling about this game, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, so normally I would agree with you because if we're playing like Madden football and you look at their defense, yeah, it's really good and they're going to come off the edge on both sides and it is what it is. But Denver hasn't played well, Jeff, in damn near 2 months. I mean, just look back at the Buffalo Bills game. They were embarrassing in that game, lost 26-16. Oakland goes in with E.J. Manuel coming into that football game and has the football with a chance to beat Denver in Denver. Denver pulls out 16-10. The New York Giants, which are an abomination of football, Jeff, a completely healthy Denver Broncos team at home, are favored by like 15 points. They get shelled 23-10. And then you say, okay, well, the Chargers stink. I mean, they don't do anything. 21-0, an unbelievable shellacking in that football game. Then you go last week, and you're not even competitive in that football game because all you do is turn the football over against the Kansas City Chiefs. I would be a little bit, saying, oh my gosh, boy, Denver's really good coming in here. And then you say, all right, well, our quarterback is struggling. Well, now I'm going to go to an even worse option in Brock Osweiler. It all boils down to the quarterback. When you say it's not a good spot for the Philadelphia Eagles, you don't have letdowns when your quarterback is way better than the other team's quarterback.
Right.
Do you anticipate coming in here? Go ahead.
No, and I'm just want to, I totally hear you. And I don't think you're going to win this game. I really don't. But, I guess this is for me being an Eagles fan and just these spots, these 1 o'clock spots,
Yeah, no,
on a Sunday, against at the end of the day, a team with a good defense. That's one thing we had to point out about Denver. And I'm not happy with the fact that they didn't address the tackle position. I don't know if Vitai's ready. He's going to be thrown into the fire here in this game against, Von Millers, those kind of guys. But Donnie, all year, I've been one to mention at home, Denver, to me, is a backable team at times. On the road, though, they're god-awful. I mean, 0-3 against the spread. They're scoring under 12 points a game. Defensively, they've been a little bit more vulnerable as well. And I guess I just feel like I know how the NFL works. It's at one point, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders might be back for this game, but you're totally right. I mean, overall, it's hard to envision them coming in here and winning this game. If you can get 8 or 9 points by kick, maybe, but I'm not betting. I mean, I'm going to the game, so I'm not betting against it. Then the Eagles or anything. I'm not doing nothing like that. I would never do that. But as far as Jay Ajayi, I don't know if he'll play. I would think maybe sparingly. I don't know, but they do have a bye week, so next week, so it's possible they just keep him out. I mean, I don't know, but we have to point out, Donnie, the Eagles' defense is pretty good. So I think they're going to be able to get to the quarterback as well. We saw that offensive line is not very good either. So. You're kind of quelling my fears
but they have tackle problems.
They have
tackle problem issues. The Eagles absolutely been flat out unstoppable under Wentz at home since he became the starter. Denver usually is atrocious away. That Central Time Zone or Western Time Zone, whatever, they're going to fly east, play at 1 o'clock. And if people say, well, it might be Denver's season. Denver's season what? The team stinks. Just because it's your season, what'd you lose, 5 out of 6 or whatever? Who cares about your season? Your team stinks. You have Brock Osweiler, quarterback. Is he going to line up against that Eagles defense and roll it down the field? Are they going to hand off to C.J. Anderson against the best defense in the NFL at stopping the run? I mean, no, it's not. It's not going to happen.
No, I agree with you.
And you're right, though. Old school Eagles, Jeff, when we had Michael Vick, Nick Foles, some bum quarterbacks back there, I could say it. Sam Bradford, it might be a letdown game. No. You have a legitimate top 5 quarterback in the NFL on your team playing against a tomato can, which other organizations are paying him just so he doesn't play for them. That should give you a heads up that the Eagles are going to run away with this football game. Am I betting it? Do I want to jump into 8 points? No, at the NFL, it's hard to beat teams by double digits. But if you're asking me straight up in this football game, does Denver have a chance? Denver has no chance in this football game to win. 0, none.
Yeah, and according to McClain, looks like they're still mum on whether Ajayi will play. If he plays, it's going to be on a limited basis. You kind of maybe throwing him in there, get his feet wet, but I don't think it's going to be, maybe a scripted play or two, but it's not going to be anything that's going to change the game, I would imagine. How about this, Donnie? Here's what I want to see from this team, okay? I want to see them in the third quarter. They're up 10. They're on the 3-yard line. Bring big Jay Ajayi in, give him the football, get a touchdown in his first game at home. How about that? That's what I want to see. Give me a couple
Yeah, I
snaps.
would be surprised. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, this is a running back we're talking about. It's not a wide receiver. Even a wide receiver is easy to play. Kelvin Benjamin was on such a really short week that it made a difference there. Was why he wasn't able to play. You get the extra couple days. We're talking about a running back. Like, they're going to have maybe 10 plays set out. Here, exactly what you're going to get into. Here's what you're going to have to do. Then you have the bye week coming up. I would be really surprised if you go trade for a Jay Ajayi and you don't actually play the guy. That wouldn't make too much sense for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the only thing that maybe is keeping them a little bit, more off playing him is maybe just because they have a bye next week, which is interesting. But I'll be interested to see how they play Vitae. I mean, will they, give him a bracket there with a Selleck on the right side or whatever. I mean, overall their offensive line's been very good, and Vitae, I don't want to give the kid no respect. I mean, he played pretty well last week. I mean, he gets a pretty good defensive line, I might add. But Von Miller's kind of tough, guys like that. So we'll see. But let's move to a couple
thank
others.
God Lane Johnson's going to get Von Miller. Yeah, so thank God about that. Jesus.
Oh, he will? He's on that side?
Yeah, he's the that's why they didn't move. The elite pass rushers are actually coming from the opposite side down the stretch for the Eagles. That's why they didn't opt to move Lane Johnson back
I guess
to the
I
left.
always feel like
right.
I always think of Ryan Kerrigan, and he just always crushes the Eagles on that side. So, well, there we go. Well, that helps a little bit. I forgot. Okay, Donnie, let's get into a couple other NFL games, some interesting ones. We will get into some of the college games tonight that are going on. I get a couple different ones, FAU, Marshall, those games. We'll get into those here in a moment. Let's go over one or two NFL games, maybe ones that we didn't go over last night. Ian Cameron and I, Donnie, went over a couple of these. Let's go to this one. Interesting lines all over the place in this game. 459, 460. Atlanta heading on the road to take on Carolina. Pinnacle putting out a 2. Bookmaker 1.5. Bet online shading the pick, but that's high juice. Then you got some 1.5. 1.5 is the prevailing line pretty much everywhere. You got a total here of what are we at here? One thing about SBR odds that I'd like to see, is there a way that you can, and I'm going to have to ask Zach, I don't know, I've never asked him, but I guess it's a question I probably should ask those guys. Is there a way you can get, how the top SBR odds, Donnie, you can go between point spreads, money lines, totals, spread and totals? Is there a way you can always get it to stay the same?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's one thing I always wondered. But you got a total here of 42, 42.5. There's a 41.5 if you like the over at Bet Online. Donnie, Carolina, obviously an interesting spot here because, if I'm an NFL player, which clearly I'm not, but I'd think to myself, all right, we're 5-3. We just traded away Kelvin Benjamin, which I think a lot of these guys, from what I understand, maybe there was an interesting point in the locker room with those two. And it was for good reason. But now you got to look at this team a little differently. They don't have Greg Olsen. They don't have Kelvin Benjamin anymore. They have limited talent at receiver. I mean, Funchess is fine, but is Curtis Samuel ready for a moment like this? Can McCaffrey get going at a high level? They don't have a great run game as it is. Cam Newton, what's his story? Now you got to come in and play a team in Atlanta here at home. Luckily, that's kind of desperate. I mean, they're kind of playing, with their head chopped off like they were last week after losing to New England. I got to tell you, this is a tough one, but I feel like Atlanta is going to come to play in this game and kind of take control of this division a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting game because I usually don't like Atlanta outside the dome. They're a tough team to beat in the dome, and I don't think over the past couple of years, I haven't researched the numbers or remembered numbers, I should say, but Carolina usually plays well against Atlanta at home in Charlotte on the grass outdoors. But you're right, it's kind of an interesting dynamic when you take a look at the football game. Kelvin Benjamin going, you're right. The one thing you worry about with Carolina is not the defense. Defense is really good. I mean, really, really good now that Luke Kuechly's back and healthy. They're going to be able to do some things and should be able to dominate the line of scrimmage, get some heat on Matt Ryan. The only problem is can you keep up with Julio Jones? We all know he's going to make his plays. You just have to try to limit and keep it to that. But you're right. What are you going to lean on for Carolina on offense? Back in the day, you'd be able to run the football, a little read option with Cam Newton. It looks good. They have no running game anymore. Stewart doesn't look like he's doing anything. And it's hard to put a bust label on guys this early, and I don't want to do it, but this is not what I anticipated from McCaffrey coming in the NFL. I thought he would have some explosive plays. If I saw it directly, Jeff, he's last in the NFL in yards after contact, so he's not making anybody miss or getting away from anybody at this point, which is really surprising because I had a lot of high hopes, almost one of the Eagles, if he would have fell down around their range or within a pick or two to try to take him, because I like that, the punt returner, spread him out in space, but he just hasn't been that dominating or even making enough plays. The old, I'm going to catch 7 balls out of the backfield for like 40 yards. That's not you. You're supposed to be able to break long runs from what we've seen at Stanford. But it's interesting because I don't know what I'm getting on offense there from Carolina at this point. It's a tough game to bet. I won't be anywhere near it, but I can see where you would bet Carolina because they're at home and Atlanta because they're in a dome. But other than that, it's a tough game to pick.
I mean, you're kind of just waiting at some point, Donnie, for this offense in Atlanta to kind of show out. I mean, they haven't really done it this year. I mean, not like last year, nowhere near it. They had that, 30-point effort against the Lions. That was in a dome. At what point are they going to get going? I mean, this secondary for the Panthers isn't great. You're just kind of waiting for that performance, and will they have it? I don't know. I mean, Sarkisian's just been very average this year, if not poor. So, I mean, I'm not
3
really
straight
looking
road games too for Atlanta, which is always one of those
Right.
real interesting ones too. Yeah.
Right. You got to go to the Cowboys, then you get the Seahawks. Tough schedule coming up for Atlanta. I mean, I feel like this is a close game. I mean, I feel like if you're going to bet it, I mean, you might even look at a bet on some money line here. But yeah, it's a tough one for sure. Let's go to one other one, Donnie. Interesting game here. Seattle hosting Washington. Seattle 7, total 45, 44 and a half. Mostly 45s though. Seattle off a huge win, but a game that they didn't play well defensively, and they gave up point after point to Deshaun Watson. Kirk Cousins is a guy that can exploit people too, Donnie. I mean, they had a bad rap last week. I mean, weather was really bad in that game, but I got a feeling this is a high-scoring football game, Donnie. I feel like Kirk Cousins can do some things here in this game, move the football against that secondary. Weather, I'd imagine, be better here. I mean, Russell Wilson, you really want to bet against him right now? I'm looking over here.
Yeah, I think it's because the game, you're sitting there, it opens up at 6, it's now sitting at 7. You go, God damn, this is too easy. Like, Seattle's going to run away with this football game. Because if you look even at the over-under, Jeff, what are you getting from Washington at this point? Just about every one of their linemen's banged up. I mean, on the injury report, Lovalu is questionable. Trent Williams, questionable. Sheriff, questionable. And what are they playing for now? Almost playing out the string. They don't really have a chance to win the NFC East, which means they're probably not going to make the playoffs. And then you say, okay, well, Kirk Cousins can make plays. I can agree with you with there. And you're saying, all right, probably not going to have Jordan Reed this week. Jamison Crowder, probably not going to have him either. You already benched Pryor. Who is catching the football out there? How are they moving the ball? That's the one problem I had, because you do look last week and sort of get tied up and say, damn, look at Seattle out there. I mean, they're going to be able to score. Their defense isn't that good, because looking at this game, Earl Thomas not going to play this weekend versus the Washington Redskins, which should help. But how do you exploit anything? If you don't have any weapons like Kirk Cousins, first of all, Kirk Cousins isn't going to have an offensive line or any weapons. My goodness. I mean, I don't know
Chris
what Washington's
Thompson?
going to do to. I mean, yeah, exactly. You're just going to throw it to him and run him 45 times in the game?
I mean, not for
it's
nothing.
amazing.
I mean, I don't the Terrell Pryor stuff, I don't really care. I mean, they don't throw to him anyway. It's like,
No, but I know,
is
but
that
you're
really
counting on like it's going to be like Josh Doxson and nobody else. And you put Richard
Yeah.
Sherman on Josh Doxson, he goes away. Who do you throw it to? Like, your big mismatch
Vernon
is,
Davis,
the Jordan Reed to the
Reed,
world.
maybe.
Yeah, you're gonna have old man Vernon Davis out there. It doesn't set up well, which is kind of funny when you see the -7, which you're saying to yourself, like, why is it only 7? Because Washington's literally coming in here with half of a football team. Like, how are they gonna, is Ryan Kerrigan gonna sack, Russell Wilson 13 times to keep him in the game? That looks like what it's gonna take.
McCaffrey needs to go to the Patriots. That ain't gonna happen, I don't think.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I mean, yeah, it definitely does. I don't think it will, though. That's sure. Donnie, let's go to college. Let's talk about the games tonight here.
Yeah, sure.
Feel free to opine if you want. 317, 308, 318. Florida Atlantic -6.5 against Marshall. Looks
Dropping
like sharp
lines,
money's.
huh? How about that?
Yeah, I think sharp money's betting Marshall here. Marshall off of 2 interesting weeks, Donnie. They look great against Middle Tennessee. Secured that bowl win. Really looked like a team in the G5 that I thought could make a little bit of a run. I mean, if UCF and USF battle it out, San Diego State lost. Marshall was really looking good. I mean, only loss was to the NC State. Nothing to shake your head at. But then they go out and lose at home by 11. Florida International give up 41 points in that game, and it's back to, looks like Marshall's a bowl team, but they're not going to win anything. Now they got to go to Boca Raton and play a Florida Atlantic team that's really been on fire 4 in a row. They're putting up a lot of points, 38, 58, 69, 42. Marshall's secondary is really going to be tested. The question is, are they going to be ready for this game? Marshall's secondary is very good. It's very much improved. And even last week, I mean, Marshall gave up a lot of yards on the ground, but against the pass, they were very good. I think this is to be honest, I think this will turn into a bit of a shootout. Florida Atlantic usually plays those type of games. The problem with, the whole secondary question is Florida Atlantic loves to run the football. So
Yeah.
I think Marshall's going to have some trouble here as well. I think 63.5 is a little too low in this game, Donnie.
Yeah, Marshall stops the run. I mean, you look at their overall season statistics, Jeff, 3.5 yards a carry. That's going to hold up well.
And
But
last week,
if you're just looking for like a betting perspective in this game, I don't want any pieces, Jeff, of going against Florida Atlantic at this point. And it just gets back to that time when they made the quarterback change to Driscoll. That read option with their 4 running backs, they hit home runs. It's like it almost reminds me back in the day when you had a little bit of Pat White and Steve Slayton back there, where you're running read option. These guys are just housing it. Singletary is an amazing running back for them. Sort of came out of nowhere, but I mean, Jeff, just look at the past couple. It's a joke. It reads like a joke. Like you're waiting for it to stop. 453 versus Old Dominion, 447 versus North Texas, 368 versus Western Kentucky. Like it's Navy going against like some bottom feeder team where expected just to run the ball as is. I don't want any piece of going against Florida Atlantic because when you're running for numbers, Jeff, of close to 400 yards a game, you can do whatever you want on offense. And I guess, I don't know, yeah, Sharp. So Pinnacle opened up at 9.5, at 6.5, 6. Everything's sharp this week. NIU was sharp last night. What game were you on earlier, Jeff, in Maction, where the line it wasn't Ball State. Who was the line that dipped
Ohio.
to like 6.5? Yeah, exactly.
Ohio.
That was real sharp. They got blown out. I mean, let's stop with the nonsense of getting a good number or what Marshall was. If you're stepping in front of Florida Atlantic right now, you're out of your mind.
This is the interesting point, though. Where does the line go now? Because it's under that 7 number. I'd imagine the public's going to come in and hit Florida Atlantic, as you would imagine. I got to tell you, Donnie, I hear your points totally. I still think Florida Atlantic is a vulnerable team. I don't think their head's in the game a lot of the time. Doc Holliday's a great
I think
coach.
they're past. I honestly think they're past that. I agree with you in the beginning.
I
If you
think
had
you'll
that,
outcoach.
your lost misfit toys. They've been. They've been dropping bombs.
Yeah. I mean, but I also have to look at the fact that this is a terrible conference this year. Terrible. Middle Tennessee State's dreadful. Old Dominion can't stop anybody. They don't have a quarterback. The North Texas win was real impressive, but I mean, they're not a good defense either. West Kentucky, all right. This is a tough test. And I think you're right. I'm not looking to step in front of them, but I think if you're going to take Marshall in this game, I'd almost take them and just win the game. I think the game's close probably. Maybe they'll pull away late, but I think there might be some value maybe waiting on, the Marshall money line because there's Florida Atlantic money going to come in on this game. At 6.5, it has to. If they want money coming in on Florida Atlantic, Sharps have Marshall in this game. And at this number, the way Florida Atlantic's playing 4 in a row, they're at home, the Lane Kiffin effect, this number's going up, Donnie. It's going to go back up to 7.5, 8 probably. I would be surprised if it doesn't. But yeah, if I'm going to take Marshall, I'd look for them to win the game. To me, that'd be my opinion. I might take a little punt on that. Marshall's won 4 in a row against Florida Atlantic, so you got to throw that in as well. But overall, it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see how they play. A lot of injuries though for Marshall on the defensive side. I need to look more into how important those guys are to the keys in this game. Donnie, other one here, a game that Ian Cameron and I talked about last night. He made a great point for the over. Memphis, Tulsa, total at almost 80. He got 79.5. But, Donnie, you and I, we've kind of looked into a lot of these tempo analytics lately. And the number 1 team in the country, 2.97 plays per minute, is the Memphis Tigers. They go the fastest in the country as far as plays per minute. That's impressive. 3 plays a minute. I mean, how impressive is that, Donnie? That's amazing, isn't it?
Nah, yeah, they do go fast. I mean, this is you looking for defense in this game. You're certainly not going to find it, but it just gets back to what is value. 80 basically means you better be scoring on 3-minute drives and touchdowns every time down the field. 1 red zone interception in this game, and you're not covering 79 points. It's just there is going to be a lot of points, but there's no value in 79 to me.
The concern also, and I made to Ian is, and I think it's a small concern, but it is an interesting point. You're right. With an 80 total, at least with like a 71, you can almost take a bad possession and be okay. 80, you literally have to have everything go right. You have to bust 3 or 4 big runs. You have to have some turnovers, to benefit you to get good field position. You know, and these are two teams that I think, for me, Tulsa's definitely a run first team. Memphis is to me
Yes.
as well. I mean, Ferguson, I think you really have to look at I'm going to interested to hear some of their press conferences. I'm going to look at Norvell's press conference here and kind of see what his thoughts are overall on their game plan in this game. If he gives any info on that, are they going to, look to throw first? Because, I mean, Tulsa's gotten shredded lately against the pass. I mean, I'd imagine that Ferguson's a little bit more frequent, but Donnie, you got to look at this game. 41-38, you lose.
Yeah,
So, I
exactly
mean,
right.
34, 40-38, you're losing. I mean, you got to basically have both teams get into the 40s or a team 52-42 or something.
Mhm.
You need a lot to go right here. These are not pass first teams, but Anthony Miller's so dynamic. I'm looking at team total with Memphis. I think that's the way to go in this football game. Team total. I got to see what it's at. I don't have it here. Maybe you have that, Donnie, in front of you.
I do not
But
have the team total now.
I'm gonna grab that here quick because I'm a little skeptical. Well, if Tulsa can put up their side of the bargain in this game, um, I definitely think that Memphis will. I'm gonna go. Let me take a look here quickly. Right side here. Um, 47. Wow. So you need 50, Donnie. Can they do it?
You need fifth. That's great, man.
Can they do it? I think
Jesus.
they could do it. I mean, they put up
I mean,
70
they could.
this
Of
year.
course, they can. Yeah, that number's there for a reason. Sure.
And I want to point out, I mean, again, they are the fastest per play team in the country per minute. If they run 3 plays a minute, Donnie, that's really effective. That means you're quick, you're precise, you're moving the football, and they're one of the slowest teams as far as plays per drive. They don't, they have quick hitters. I might take a little shot with that. 47. Wow. Thank you. That's high. Wow. Uh, we'll see. Maybe just lay the points here, Donnie, right side. I don't know.
Yeah,
Tough
no,
game.
yeah. I mean, on the road, you're laying to double digits. That's always,
How
sort of
about
tough to
tease,
see, especially
Donnie?
against
Let's
a team
tease
that
them
runs
down to
fast. Yeah, yeah. Why don't we?
tease
We're
them
going
down
to
to
tease
70.
the under to like 74.
No, the over, you mean.
Yeah,
No, let's, I
exactly.
mean, how about let's tease it up to 85.5.
Oh,
How about that? Teasing overs.
take the under
Final
85.
game,
Yeah.
321, 322. You got the Utah Utes hosting the UCLA Bruins. Line's going up, Donnie, a little bit. From what I can,
Everybody worried about the
uh,
quarterback. I guess some people are getting that info.
for Utah, you're saying.
Not for UCLA, Josh Rosen.
Oh, right. Good point.
Yeah,
You got
left the game.
7 here.
Left the game last week. Yeah.
He's playing. 7 total is what do you got a total, Donnie?
I got it. Looks like 56 and a half, 57. Looks like across the board there. And Utah have now CG Technology showing -7 as a number.
Yeah, I haven't, spent a ton of time in this game just because, it is kind of a number that I'm not crazy about laying. But here's what I like about Utah, and I've always respected this about Whittingham. They're a great defensive team generally. But then you look at them overall. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row. I mean, they just give up 41 points to Oregon. I mean, that was with Braxton Bowmeister in the game. I mean, look, I got to tell you, I mean, I don't want to see you give it. Braxton Bowmeister doesn't belong on the field. Um, but you look at the run game, and the run game carved them up last week. 347 yards on the ground to give up to Oregon. Bowmeister didn't need to be great. Huntley's back. He's played well. I think they have a field day on UCLA. UCLA can't stop anybody. I actually like the over, Donnie, in this game. I think Oregon, or not Oregon, I think UCLA will be able to move the ball with Rosen in there. I don't think they'll put up 30 or 40 points, but I think they're good for the mid-20s here. I feel like Utah's really going to turn up in this game. They don't score 40 points much, but I could see them pushing that tonight. I kind of like Utah in general. If I could get a 6.5, that would be That'd be cherry.
Yeah, Utah might not even have to throw a pass tonight. I mean, if you're just running your read option the way you're supposed to, you can do whatever you want on UCLA's rush defense. Like if you watched that Washington game last week after they knocked Josh Rosen out of the game, all they did was literally hand off to Gaskins every play, and it was like nobody touched them until like 6 yards down the field, and that feeds right into what Utah wants to do. They'll be perfectly fine, Jeff, with handing the football off right up the middle for 5 yards a chunk. And against UCLA, that's easily doable. I would watch to see, that line creeping up to now 7. Something tells me, it's hard. Josh Rosen's a really good passer, but when you have a busted finger on your throwing hand, that's a really tough one. So I want to see how they actually handle that, and maybe they'll run the ball more and slow the clock down. That's the only thing I would worry about, because I don't know how much you want to expose Rosen out there when you know he's going to be a first round, maybe first quarterback off the board, and he's already banged up as it is.
I'm sure they'll be so forthright with information about that too tonight. I'm sure we'll have plenty of news outlets reporting on it. Donnie, other than that, what do you want to give out anything here on the show today?
No, I'll make over a couple things for the closing line tonight, but I don't have much on college football tonight now because no NFL. I'm not digging any of these. Yeah, I'm not digging any of these college football games to do anything on this. Yeah.
I'll give out 2
I think Florida, man. If you're going to give me Florida Atlantic bet online -6 Florida Atlantic, I think Florida Atlantic wins by a touchdown. I would like that game.
All right, I'm going to go I'm going to have some fun today. I'm going to go Marshall money line, and I'm going to go with that.
Marshall.
I'm going to just play that. Well, we'll see. I'm going to wait on it, see if I can get a couple extra dollars here, and I'm going to rock with that. As far as the NBA, I'm going to see where the lines go. We came up short last night, Ian and I, with our Portland play. They went to sleep basically after the first quarter, and that game was close throughout. Donnie, any comment on Lonzo Ball? 0 points last night. Any thoughts on that?
No. Did he shoot at all? Like, why didn't he have any points?
Just didn't shoot much. He's been very passive. He needs to fix that in his game, and that's something that I hope will be fixed for him. But I got to tell you, the Lakers are an interesting little team. They play hard. They have some. Kuzma's
they
great.
Win last night?
No, they came up short. Lillard hit a buzzer beater at the buzzer.
So they were up.
They definitely covered. But Lillard, Donnie, you got to see it. Lillard put Brandon Ingram on skates, man. He's just toying with him at the top of the key. Step back, 3-ball, game over.
And Jeff, how about the thing I like about the NBA right now that I'm not used to is every time I'm looking at Sixers in home games, Jeff, like we're laying 7-8 points. Tonight we're laying 5-6 points. It feels good to be a Sixer fan right about now.
Yeah, and we actually have 5 minutes here, so I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but we didn't get a chance. Donnie, I know we're only 2 weeks into the season, but I saw you tweet about it. I've been really marveling in this guy. Ben Simmons has the ability to be an amazing player in this league, doesn't he?
He really does, man.
And I was skeptical to think that it would work at point guard, him playing the point. He kept saying, "No, I'm going to play the point. I'm going to play the point." He's definitely won me over so far. It's a long way to go, but him and Joel are quite the tandem. And it just kind of goes back to, the thoughts on if you liked Ben Simmons at point guard with Markelle Fultz, maybe instead of taking a De'Aaron Fox or someone else. But, those conversations can be made. I definitely think you need to see Redick in there. I don't want to see Jared Bayless in the court as much anymore. Give Dario the starting role. Dario's a good starter. He's actually marveled in that role. He's not good off the bench. He doesn't play well off the bench. It's his mindset. If you talk to Dario Saric and hear him talk, I don't think he even understands what he's doing on the bench. Or, with him, he's from Croatia. He doesn't speak English well. I don't even think he understands it, Donnie. I don't think he understands why he's coming off the bench. He in his head needs to be coming off and starting. I think he's with Croatia, he's a starter. He's always been a starter. I think you need to let him be a starter. He's earned the role. He's played well. But what this team has done to Jahlil Okafor is a travesty, Donnie.
Yeah, I don't even understand it because the one thing that's interesting about him, you can say all you want about no defense. Like, you're telling me you can't use him for 10 minutes a game when you need to spell a big man to get some offense out there. When he played his rookie year, was he great on defense? No. Was he a good rebounder? No, he wasn't. But every night he's putting 15 points up.
No,
now you're just going to give him away for free?
Right, and you you're making it so much worse by not playing him because you're basically saying we put our line in the sand. We don't think he's good enough to play, and we're gonna start. We're gonna let Amir Johnson play over him.
I
Come
know.
on, not
But you could
fair.
we always used to joke about like Maurice Spates played no defense, but he serves a purpose. Like when you need some instant offense, he can
Sure,
give it to you there. But getting back to
I'm
the Ben
sick of hearing
Simmons
about
point,
defense.
finally
Nobody
some
plays
things
defense
just
in the
go your way.
NBA.
Yeah.
Right?
Like
Nobody
getting
plays
Ben
defense in the
Simmons, I
NBA.
mean, generational
Right.
player, you finally got him. It can ease the blow of Jahlil Okafor. Maybe Fultz isn't
And
all world, but when you get a once of every like 10-year player in the draft, like you get Ben Simmons, everything works its way out, and they'll be good for a long time,
what's
the
such
Sixers.
what's irritating, Donnie, about the Okafor thing is, I feel like he's a really good scorer. I think we can all agree with that. And he's improved defensively. He's done everything they've asked. He lost weight. He's got in better shape. He's really played the game totally. Now you're not even going to grant a guy a buyout. Give him some love. Let
Yeah,
him move
it's
on.
really bad. No, it's bad. It's really bad.
It's like a college coach that won't grant a transfer. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, let the kid live a little. But Donnie, other than that, you're on your own. Um, Tonight I'll be on with Gabe Morency, I believe. I haven't heard from him. Is Gabe okay? Have we heard from him,
I don't know. He might
Donnie?
be laying in the gutter somewhere after that loss that Buffalo took last night.
I haven't heard from him, so I don't know if he's okay or not. But I guess he's been tweeting, so that's okay. He's been on a couple shows. Good, so he's okay. I don't know if he's back in New York or where is he, but I guess we'll be on with Gabe tonight talking college football. Are you going to go over most of the college? No, Jay, probably not. I mean, we're probably going to just go over the games we like. There's a very big card. I'm not sure we can always do that. We'll try our best though. Other than that, everyone have a great day. Join Donnie at 6 o'clock on the closing line. And look out for the college basketball videos that should be coming out over the next couple days. We'll start pumping them out. Other than that, as Gabe would say, you're on your own. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you Monday here on the right side of camp.
See ya.